refresh me and talk about your little Rebels journey real fast.
Oh,
What have
yeah,
you
let's
watched
talk
this week?
about that. Oh man,
Break into it.
So I was sitting down the other day and just laying down in bed, and I don't even know what's on the TV, and I'm just looking on my phone. I was like, this would be a good time to catch up with some Rebels. So I was like, okay, where did I leave off at? And I left off on like season 2, episode 2, and I was like, okay, cool, let's just get started. So I hit play on it, and it took me a few minutes to get back into it, to remember everything, like where we're at in the situation, everything, but. The episode that I walked back into was the episode with Rex and Gregor and the other, and they're, I guess it's the first time you see AT-ATs, because or the first time they've seen them, because they're amazed by their 4 legs and how they're staying balanced. Something's gonna come into play whenever they've mentioned a few times about their, wow, how are they staying balanced with 4 legs? So it was pretty cool, and I was like, wow, this is really neat. And then just following the lore after that. It's just like, wow, this is a show that if you showed me pictures of it, I'd be like, it looks cool, but I'm not that interested. But when you actually sit down and watch it, and you pay attention to the story they're going through and the emotional connections and everything here, and you're starting to connect dots with Ahsoka and this and that, you're like, oh, this is good. This is really, really good, to the point where I'm really locked in and interested now. And you go through like 6 episodes, and you don't even realize you've gone through 6 episodes. So I'm really enjoying this catch up with Rebels. I think I'm on episode 10 or 11 of season 2. There's 22 episodes in season 2, 23 in season 3, and then I think 15 in season 4. So I still got quite a bit to catch up with, but I'm going to be pounding through those pretty quickly because that's kind of my downtime show now. And I've got the whole rest of the weekend off, so I'll definitely be watching some more Rebels. But it's fun. I'm waiting to see when Thrawn comes into the show, because I know that he's in this show, but I'm still yet to see anything about Thrawn in this show so far. I've seen a lot of Inquisitor stuff, and I'm totally down to see Ezra live action. Like the more and more, I remember the first time I saw his lightsaber, I was like, that is the stupidest looking lightsaber ever. However, as far as functionality goes, it's genius. It is absolutely genius. And I'm like, I would probably carry one of those. So I like his lightsaber, and I'm really interested to see how they do that live action, to be honest with you.
And not to mention, you got a face. Well, I mean, you'll have to go into more. You got to finish the show first before you talk about that. But you do have his like the actual actor to go off of now. So you got reference, and there's more that you're going to learn about Ezra as the show goes. By the time you make it to the end of the show, so you'll have a not totally different. You have quite a bit of a different want, I guess, what you're going to get out of his character come live action. So now, did you make it to? Did you make it to Fulcrum? Did you make it to?
I'm trying to remember the last spot that I was at. The last spot that I remember being at is a new Inquisitor has come into play, or there's 2 of them. There's 2 Inquisitors. There's a female one that has like a metal face mask, looking face mask, and then there's a new one that's, I can't remember the Dick head's name. That's the general or whatever for the Empire that's always after them with the mutton chops.
Yeah.
He kind of like, he gets on his ship and he's like, I don't need your help. He's like, I've got this. He's like, y'all just stand back and I've got this. And he goes, so I'm at that point. I don't know exactly where it's at in the episode or where it's at in the season. I really need to get a refresher. Like I said, I need to sit down and really pound through like 6 or 7 episodes at a time, because so much content I'm taking in. That and reading Fire and Blood, man. Like that book is like reading Genesis. Like, it's crazy. Like the first chapter is like so and so begot so and so, and then they begot so and so and begot so and so, and the problem is there's only like 6 names they use in the whole Targaryen like chain of command or house family tree, so you don't know who's who. So taking that in has been crazy too. But trying to stick to Rebels. I remember the 2 Inquisitors, and I'd really have to go back and get a description of the last episode to really get a grasp on what I've where I'm at with it. To be honest, just taking in so much stuff.
All that I say, like, because I love like, as much as like Sarah, you're into like Funko Pops. Like, I've always been into like the Lego sets. Like, I love what they do with them, and they did one of the most coveted Lego sets is like the Ghost with the actual Phantom, and then one of the other ones I'm not sure if it's official or if it was a fan made, but that the I think it was an ATTE was their actual house that they lived in that traveled, and because it was the first time you met Rex in this show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that was so, then that one that they lived in, like people actually made that, and like it was always cool because I'm a big fan of like all the UCS sets that they come out with. Like the last one they just came out with was the shoot, I'm blanking on it, and it like just came out like not too long ago. But you know they have like the big like $700 Falcon or $800 Falcon that you can get, and like the big Star Destroyer and all that kind of mess. And so, all the smaller sets are still expensive, but it's funny seeing people making their own versions of it. And it's been so long that I can't remember if that was a set that actually came out or if that was a fan made one. But I remember seeing it and like saving pictures of it, and just like all the little like, you know, cranes and levers and all the stuff coming off of it. It was just absolutely pointless, but cool for them to use, I guess, when you're living on the thing.
Right.
So I do remember like the vehicles, and especially like the first scene of, especially like them being old and gray, you know, like it was all that stuff they want to talk about, like, you know, well, Rex is in, you know, Return of the Jedi and all that kind of mess. Well, this is what you want. This is what you want to see, whether it be an animation or not. I mean, you know, Clone Wars was all animation, so that's how you got to know Rex and most of all the other troopers, and that's how you got all that armor. But you know, to turn right into Andor with the clone trooper armor and how it has all like progressed, you get to see, was it what was the other show, Bad Batch? And Bad Batch you get to see like the transition between Clone Wars going into, instead of the clone trooper armor, into like the stormtrooper armor. And so in Andor this week they brought us back with that clone trooper armor, like that phase 2 armor. And so it was really cool to see live action, you know, and with people in the suits, like not digital, not VFX or any of that mess, like to actually see people in the suits. And so I think that Andor is the perfect spot for them to do that, because I want to see so much of that more live action. Andor's been giving me that political show that I've kind of, the intrigue that I wanted, right? You know, like it's been kind of like a slow roll, but at the same time, like it's worked out very well to just tell enough of like, you know, clenching the fist as they call it. But I love seeing all the callback stuff. And this week, I love seeing that clone trooper armor. So from Clone Wars to Rebels to now here we are in Andor.
Yeah. You guys wanted to know the stuff. I'm sitting here looking through the episodes that I've been watching recently. Okay, so Wings of the Master is where Hera gets the ship and that can break through a blockade completely. This is the one where they steal the supplies for a planet, and the Empire set up a blockade in front of the planet, and she just blows right through it. And I thought that was pretty cool. There's the one where Sabine meets one of her old friends that's a bounty hunter. That's actually after her, and they end up having to work together. So that was pretty cool. And then I'm up to right now is the episode where Kanan and Rex disguise themselves as stormtroopers.
Oh yeah.
So that's where I'm at in the season so far. But man, it's really good. Oh yeah, and then the one episode I want to remember where Ezra is posing as Lando Calrissian. So I thought that one was pretty cool too. And I was like, I'm wondering how long he's going to roll with this. And it's to the point where he gets caught. And it's like, okay. So now we see, I guess the guy, what's the guy's name? Hondo Okana is the guy that he's
Hondo.
with.
Onaka.
Onaka, yeah. Onaka. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, man. Like I said, it's so cool. Because I know a lot of Star Wars, you know, tie-ins and lore and everything, and seeing all this stuff, I'm like, oh, okay. Connect that dot, connect this dot, connect this dot.
And Hondo ends up in Bad Batch, and not only that, he's in was it Batu? It's the Disney. I think he's the one that gives you the spiel before you go on the Millennium Falcon ride at Disney.
Okay.
So I mean, like they
we'll
put him all over the
live
place.
action Hondo?
Dude, who would play him? Who would play him?
There's got to be somebody for him, though. I mean, you could have. Who's the guy who played the Collector in the MCU?
Oh, you're talking about Benicio del Toro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Benicio del Toro playing him.
You need someone that's a little bit more. I don't know. He seems like he's a little too. I don't know. You need like a tall, skinny, lanky fella for that.
Joviant, like you need someone that's just like with.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I had to think about that.
You just gotta have like that swagger. Hondo's got swagger. Mm-hmm. He's one that he annoyed me from the beginning, but the more you saw him, you're just like, especially there's like this one episode where he's like, "Oh, you help Hondo out." So I mean, it's like he becomes endearing, and it's kind of crazy saying that, but he does for real.
Well, you want us to let us walk that right into Andor. Ross, you said you saw the connection with the live action Stormtrooper stuff. So I have questions about this episode, especially the way it ended, but we'll start at the beginning and then move forward. When we get there, I'm going to have a couple questions I want to ask that y'all probably know right away. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is obvious. So this is post heist. This is the first episode post heist. This one definitely didn't have a ton of action in it. It was very, very story driven. So this is like, I'm assuming this whole episode is like a day or two after the heist. That's all it's covering is the first day or two after the heist. You see the ISB going crazy about it and trying to change their plan. And I like the little back and forth between the two characters within the ISB. Couldn't recall their names at the moment.
Deidre and the other dude.
Yeah. That was pretty fun. But I don't know, man. We learned that they look at Clem or Andor as a loose end. So this is what rebellions look like, right? This is what they say. This is what the things that happen. So let's talk on that. Like he's a loose end. So now not only is the Empire after him, not unknowingly who he is, but the people he was with are after him too. So everybody's after him.
Well, it seems like I believe her name is Clea, the assistant to Luthen's shop. Mm-hmm. It almost seems like that scene between her and Vel makes it seem like she has almost as much power, or she like decision making, or she's making a call or something, because it doesn't seem like it has like Luthen's praise behind the call. I only say that because, I didn't get any vibe that Luthen was going to kill the guy off or like want him, gone. It seemed like he went out of his way to actually get him involved. Mm-hmm. It's got to be maybe a little bit more time. I figured maybe like, a week or two after like the heist is what I'm kind of feeling. But you're right. Like with the ISB side of it, first off, we got a character, the guy who was at the beginning making the announcements. It wasn't the major. It was the other guy with, I believe, the mustache. He is Lord Yularen, I think is his name. But you see him not only in the round table at the beginning of A New Hope, where Vader comes in and chokes the dude for saying that, like how, this battle station is, the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it. And then Vader just ends up choking him. But either way, Yularen sitting at the table is also in Rebels. I believe he's in Clone Wars. So, I mean, like the characters all over the place. So they said that he was that character at the ISB. And then later on in the ISB scene, you get the major basically telling everybody, like, like, here's what all of you are going to do in your sectors. And then that's when you get the Deidre and the other lieutenant guys, which I can't remember his name. Levin?
I'm with Levin.
And so when you get their fight, and she basically says, well, what had happened was they opened up the Patriot Act, and I was okay to go and backdoor all this information because, like now there's no rules. And which she's right. And, it's clear that she has a much better grasp on how the rebels are, basically doing like guerrilla warfare in the universe. And so everyone else, I believe that there were books written in Legends that basically told how the simple fact that the Empire treated the entire universe like in sectors, that there was always loopholes that the rebellion was born in, and like how they were able to like navigate, hit here, hit here, hit here, hit here, so that they were able to be effective. But I think this is so early that it's showing the ineffectiveness by Clea telling Vel to kill Cassian. So many names. I'm trying to keep
I know,
straight
right?
on the names.
It's a lot of names. It's a lot of names. Speaking of names, man, we got another one coming into the show here. Mr. Cody Lashney, the first of his name, the king of the Andals and the first men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and protector of the realm. Cody, how you doing, buddy?
I fare thee well, good sir. I fare thee well. Yeah, man. You know, I only got 2 episodes left of Hot Deep. Well, 1 now, but this would be my second to last time doing this with y'all. So I made some time for y'all. I figured I'd come and hang out and like we've been doing, man. But hey, if y'all aren't done with Andor or whatever y'all are talking about, don't let me rush you, man.
Okay, yeah, we'll finish the Andor up and then we'll hop right into the House of the Dragon here.
Cool.
All right, let's keep going. Sarah, you want to pick up right where Ross? Going there. Did you want to say anything? Ross put some stuff out. I was giving you an opening there. I'm sorry. Would you like to?
No, I mean, basically, it's just the same thing that, you've got I thought it was interesting in that room how you say Deidre was going up against Blevin because he was very smug. He's like, oh, well, she basically stepped all over me. And dude, she like rattled off her reasons. She's like, duh, 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 duh. But what was so interesting after the fact is, and who was the lead fellow?
It'll be the Major.
Yeah.
I don't.
Anyways, the point is, he was like, oh, okay, so there you go. Somebody's on top of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he asked her to walk with him, he's like, walk with me for a moment or whatnot. And they just take a few steps and he just looks at her or doesn't even look back and just says, watch your back. And he just keeps rolling. So I'm like, ooh, the plot thickens.
Oh, yes. Yes, very much so. Let's see. Andor's Cassian's trying to, is this his mother or like his adopted mother? I guess.
In essence, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And he's basically trying to get her off the planet. And she's making a stand where she's at, which is good because this is what a rebellion needs, is for people to stand like this. And that's what the saying is, as long as there are people, there will always be evil. And until there are people, as long as nobody stands up against them, it will always win. And that's kind of the mindset she's going with. So he's got enough money to leave and take her and go. And I like how what's the droid's name? Whatever.
B2 Emo.
Yeah, it's got like a personality too. He's like, can I speak now? And they're like, no. He's asking in turn if he can say something, which is pretty cool. But she's not having any of it. She's not leaving. And it leads me to the end of this episode, which, we're just jumping around. Like, is the end of this episode a flashback? Or is the end of this episode where he's left and this is his new life that he's left to?
Oh, you're talking about on the new planet? The party planet?
Yeah. Because he's got a whole relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He left. He was like just doing his own thing. He's like,
so he's
you
now
want me to
locked
disappear?
up.
I'll disappear. Because
Okay.
that's what his, who was the girl?
Bix.
Yes, because she told him point blank, it's like, you need to leave. We need to forget about you. You need to disappear. He's like, okay, 10-4. And he hopped back up over that wall.
And she was pissed that he actually came back. It kind of changed the whole entire, it changed all of their lives, because now the Empire's there, being a part in their whole daily affairs. Whereas, the whole idea behind this entire episode is that they're closing their fists, they're tightening the noose. And it, from the beginning, they talk about it with talking about raising the tribute tax to anyone who's seen helping any sort of like rebellion shit period, like 5 times. Like we're
5 times what was stolen.
What was stolen? Is that what they said?
5 times what was stolen. Yeah. So that's
and
what's
so
insane. Yeah.
You're talking about a ton, like right off the bat. These people don't have that money. And then you come to see at the very end, like you were going to say, go ahead, talk about it on that planet. Neamos. I think it's NIAMOS or something, but
looks like Miami. Yeah.
Looking like Ryza.
It's the United Kingdom, dude. That's where they shot it.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty crazy. Like, okay, so he is getting, they're just pinning out people, and I guess anybody running, they're assuming, like, they're just picking people left and right and saying you're with the rebellion, you're fighting for the rebellion or representing the rebellion, anything that has to do against the anti-empire. And it's just, I guess in that case, he absolutely wasn't. He was just walking to the store, but
and they were trying to give him shit because they're like, what are you looking around for? He's like, dude, I'm a tourist. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah,
I
of
don't know
course.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason why I thought this might have been a flashback was because he got sentenced to 6 years. Like he's captured and sentenced to 6 years, and I was like, so is this like before, and then we're gonna go back to like 6 years later? Now he's out of prison or whatever. But no, I guess now he's in prison for 6 years for what would have been a 6-month sentence if he just kept his mouth shut, even though he really didn't say anything. He really wasn't doing anything wrong at all. But
No, those troopers had like zero fucks. And whenever, I love the scene when they brought the K droids, the KX droids in. You know, he's like, what do you say? Hold him
yeah,
here.
yeah, hold him
It's
here.
like, don't use wrong verbiage. Don't use that word. He just meant keep an eye on me.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was wondering if you were gonna K2SO, is that the one in Andor? Yeah, I thought that was gonna be I didn't know if they were gonna have something there about that, but I guess it's just a nice little nod.
Those droids were not playing. Did you see they're doing
No.
themselves behind a wall? You're like, oh,
No, not
That's
at
what they're
all.
known
body's
for,
flying.
man. Like, they are.
And that's the
I
thing,
think that's
too.
where the K comes from. They're killer droids, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like if you see all that going on, of course you're going to be looking around. Why would you ask me why they're looking around when this is going on? There's droids are picking up people and dragging them and choking them. It's like, of course I'm going to be looking around, watching my back. But yeah,
Everything's an example, man.
yeah, I just wasn't sure if this was like I said, if that was a flashback simply because of the sentencing. So I imagine there's going to be some kind of rescue for him. And I love too how they, with all this technology they have, they're using like a 1984 credit card swiper. Yeah, to like write people's sentencing down on their little plate there. I thought it was pretty cool. So I was like, that reminds me of the old days.
Yeah, their mix of technology is really. I love how they're able to take something so like low tech, right? Like all it is a sliding roller. You actually had to stick stuff in there to make it work, and I think they're actually using it to like engrave it as it goes over it, which means like it's new technology. So I love that mix. I love that that balance that they do with all that stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars is great with that. But I'm loving Andor. It's a killer show, like you said, Ross. It's that political thriller you're looking for. You know, it's got just enough Star Wars in it to make me love it for Star Wars, but it's not enough Star Wars to pull me out of it. And maybe if I didn't like Star Wars, I would still really enjoy the show. So
I keep on hearing enough good things about it where I'm probably going to give it a chance.
Yeah,
Cody, I think you dig it. I think you would dig it.
Yeah, and like I'm hearing a lot of what Greg said too. Like it's a lot more of a. I mean, it's Star Wars in name, but it also has like a different kind of vibe to it. So, yeah,
there's no lightsabers, there's no force.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
They dropped
basically a political
Palpatine's name
show.
though.
That's fine. See, like Obi-Wan, like to me, that's not really for me. And I'm not like trashing it either, but like this is the type of show that I think I could really, really enjoy. So yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out.
Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of any sort of backstory. I think that at most you just, if you don't know the time frame that you're jumping into, like how you got there, is probably the biggest problem. And what kind of you can parse out pretty simple, like what kind of world that they're living in, and like how it kind of de-evolves, and then I'm assuming is going to continue to de-evolve, just because it's like the growth of the rebellion. It's the beginning of seeing so many different. There's so many factions that are going on that have rebellious actions, and so it's weird because you don't have anyone like united under a banner, and so it's in that aspect. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, where there's so many different houses, but none of them can unite to actually get anything done.
Right.
So now you're going to kind of see that, I think, and I'm interested. And a lot of people, this is going to come into play later when we talk about a movie, but a lot of people are sleeping on this show, and I think mainly for a reason that we kind of reached a point of fatigue where there's so many shows out now week to week that I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to watch it when it's done, because I'm not about week to week life for all the stuff that's happening. Rings of Power, House of Dragon, Andor, She-Hulk for those who liked it. And I mean, what else have we been talking about? I mean, we talk about Lower Decks, but I mean, shoot, like anything else that you're into and you want to watch, it's all week to week.
Yeah, it definitely changes the game up. But once again, it gives